The pull woke me before the alarms did. I felt it in my bones before my eyes even opened, a slow drag on every part of me, like something vast and patient had finally let go of my hull. My name is Ethan Cole, and the last thing I remembered was giving the order to dive. My eyes opened to a ceiling I did not recognize. The lights were dim, flickering red, then settling into a pale white glow that hurt after so much darkness. I tried to sit up and my body screamed at me, muscles stiff from a sleep that felt like it had lasted a single night. The screen above my pod blinked awake and gave me a number that made my chest go tight. 10,000 years. I stared at that number for a long time, waiting for it to change, waiting for it to be a mistake. It did not change. 10,000 years had passed outside, while I fell through the crushing dark of a black hole, hidden from a war that should have ended a long time ago. I remembered the final order clearly, spoken by a voice that no longer existed anywhere in the universe. Survive, even if there is no one left to save. We had built this ship, the Vigil, as a last vault for humanity, a place to hide our people and our knowledge when everything else was being taken from us. The plan was simple and desperate. Dive close enough to a black hole that time itself would slow around us, and wait out the storm above, safe in a place no enemy would dare follow. I never expected to actually wake up and find the storm long gone. The comm panel lit up before I could gather my thoughts, and Grace Lennox's voice crackled through, rough with sleep but sharp as ever. "You're awake," she said. "Good, because something out there is screaming for help, and I don't think it's friendly." I pulled myself out of the pod and moved down the corridor, my legs unsteady, my mind still catching up to the fact that everyone I once knew outside this ship had been gone for 10,000 years. Grace met me at the command deck, her dark hair pulled back, eyes fixed on the main display. Beside her stood Nathan Price, already strapped into the weapons station, jaw tight, watching numbers scroll past faster than I could read them. "Talk to me," I said. Nathan didn't look up. "We drifted out of the event horizon about 6 minutes ago. Sensors came online slow, still recalibrating, but we're picking up a battle, a big one, ships everywhere, and most of them are losing." Olivia Marsh, our comms officer, turned from her station, her face pale under the low light. "It's not human," she said. "None of the ship designs match anything in our old records. Whoever they are, they've been out here a very long time without us." I stepped closer to the main display and watched dozens of glowing points scatter and flicker across the screen, some winking out entirely as I watched. A fleet, caught in a fight it was losing badly, pressed by something larger and colder moving in from the outer edge of the system. My mind raced through what I knew. We had left a galaxy at war with an alien coalition that hated the very idea of humanity surviving. Now here I was, staring at their descendants, fighting for their lives against something new. 10,000 years, and the universe hadn't slowed down waiting for us. It had just kept moving, kept fighting, kept losing people to threats we never got the chance to learn about. Grace turned to me, her voice steady despite the tension in her shoulders. "Captain, we have two choices. We stay dark, slip back toward the black hole, and let history pass us by again, or we step into a fight that isn't ours, against an enemy we know nothing about, to help people whose ancestors once tried to erase us from existence." I looked at the screen again. A smaller ship out there, damaged and drifting, was still broadcasting a weak signal, something between a warning and a plea. I didn't need a translator to understand the tone of it. Fear sounds the same no matter what language carries it. "Wake the rest of the crew," I said. "All stations. We're not hiding anymore." The ship trembled as old systems came back to life around us, decks humming with power that hadn't been used in 10,000 years. I felt something steady settle into my chest, a kind of clarity that comes only when a decision finally feels right. We had survived so long in silence, guarding what was left of our people. But survival was never supposed to be the end of the story. It was supposed to be the beginning of a new one. Nathan's voice cut through my thoughts. Captain, that larger fleet, the one pressing the attack, they're moving toward the damaged ships instead of finishing the fight quickly. They're not trying to win, they're trying to take prisoners. That single word changed everything in the room. Whatever hesitation remained in my crew disappeared in an instant. Bring us in close, I said. Full power to the forward shields. Olivia, open every channel you can find. I want them to see us before they even understand what we are. The vigil moved forward, and for the first time in 10,000 years, I felt the deep old engines answer without hesitation, as if they too had been waiting for this exact moment. Space outside the viewport stretched and blurred as we closed the distance, the wreckage of smaller ships tumbling past us like broken toys, still smoking, still fighting to stay in one piece. When we finally came into full view of the battle, I watched dozens of unfamiliar vessels turn their attention toward us all at once. I could only imagine what we looked like to them, an ancient design, built with technology far beyond anything they had ever seen, appearing suddenly out of nowhere, with no warning and no explanation. Olivia's voice was quiet, almost disbelieving. Captain, they're transmitting. It's slow, and the language has shifted a lot, but I think I can make out a word. They keep repeating it. What word? I asked. Human, she said. They're saying human, like it's something out of an old story. I felt a strange mix of pride and sadness settle over me. We had become a memory to them, a whisper passed down through generations, a name attached to legends nobody thought were real anymore. There was no time to dwell on it. The larger enemy fleet adjusted course, turning its full attention toward us instead of the ships they had been chasing. I understood immediately that they saw us as the greater threat, and for the first time in 10,000 years, I intended to prove them right. Nathan's hands moved fast across his console. Systems are old but responsive, he said. Everything the engineers built into this ship, all of it still works. We just have to trust it. I nodded, watching the enemy formation spread out around us, clearly trying to surround the vigil the way they must have surrounded countless other ships before. But they had never fought something built specifically to survive the crushing pressure near a black hole. Something designed to endure conditions far worse than anything a normal battlefield could offer. Hold position, I said. Let them come to us. The moment the first wave of enemy ships closed in, our shields answered with a strength that clearly caught them by surprise. I watched their formation break apart in confusion, ships scattering, as they realized their approach was not working the way it always had before. Grace guided the ship through careful, precise movements, using the vigil's size and old, powerful design to protect the smaller Allied ships caught in the crossfire. For the first time in 10,000 years, I felt truly present in a moment that mattered, not hiding, not waiting, but standing between danger and people who needed help. Slowly, steadily, the tide of the battle began to shift. The enemy fleet, confused by a ship they could not identify and could not overpower, began pulling back toward the outer edge of the system, retreating from a fight they no longer understood. I watched their formation shrink on the display until it disappeared entirely into the dark beyond our sensors. The bridge fell into a heavy silence, the kind that follows danger once it finally passes. Grace let out a slow breath and looked at me, a tired smile breaking through the exhaustion on her face. "We actually did it," she said. Olivia's voice broke the quiet again, softer this time. "Captain, the surviving ships are hailing us. They want to know who we are, and where we came from." I looked out at the wreckage still drifting in the space around us, at the small damaged ships now safe, because we had chosen not to stay hidden. I thought about the crew still sleeping deeper in the ship, about the 10,000 years we had missed, about everything that had changed while we waited in the dark. "Tell them the truth," I said. "Tell them we are human, and we never really left. We were only waiting for the right moment to come back." As Olivia opened the channel, I stood at the center of the bridge and felt something settle deep inside me, a sense of purpose sharper than anything I had felt before the dive. We had been built to survive extinction, hidden away, to protect what little remained of our people. But standing there, watching strangers from a future none of us had chosen, thank us with words we could barely translate, I understood something the engineers who built this ship could never have predicted. We had not just survived the end of our story. We had returned right at the beginning of someone else's.